thanks to yourselves for the training session. It was a decent session, considering he's already had a session done today. I'm just going to keep going on, boys, a little bit about, I suppose, about the session today. What I took out of looking at you boys, first of all, I suppose, again, go back to that story, boys. We sat in a meeting like this. You know, one of the meetings you have at the start of the year, where everybody's going to give fucking everything, and then you turn up the first session, and it turns out only half's going to give everything, and some other boys aren't really that fussed. And that's the way it had been across for 10 years. And I had spent 3 years on, well, I'd spent 2 years in the panel. This would have been my third year, and there was no leadership in that room, boys. Every time I looked around me, I was coming up, I was playing with boys that I had looked at for 10 or 15 years. The only place I ever wanted to be, boys, was in that fucking change room with them boys. I wanted to fucking change beside them, I wanted to run out on the field with them, I wanted to do all those things. And it turned out, boys, when I actually got there, it wasn't all it was fucking cracked up to be. Because we were sort of rudderless, there was no real leaders. And as I say, an 18-year-old Tony McEntee stood up in a meeting. And I told you, I'm not going to go over it again, I told you what he said. You know, about whether everybody wanted to come along with what he had, or, you know, we wanted to continue on the path we were at. Because it's the same thing in life, whether it be work or general life or something. I mean, at 30 years of age, boys, I was getting over an addiction, right? I'm not going to go into it in depth, right? But part of it for me was, right, okay, I put myself in the shit, all that sort of stuff, right? But the advice that I was getting, boys, when I went into the treatment centre was, and it makes sense now to me, right? That something had to change, okay? So my lifestyle had to change, okay? People I hung around with had to change. The things I was doing fucking 24/7 had to change in order for me to move on to the next part of my life. Bring it back to those change rooms, boys. And 10 years, we could hardly win a challenging match, never win a challenge. So something had to fucking radically change, boys. And it wasn't the manager, it wasn't the setup within the club, it wasn't the facilities, but it was those boys who were sitting in that room. And boys, honestly, see from that moment, when you put your fucking finger on that moment, from that moment, our club, our thinking, the ethos, everything started to change from that minute. The way we thought about ourselves, the way we approached things, the way we carried ourselves, all those sort of things. People would have seen us, honestly, boys, I'm telling you, for those 10 years as a joke. I remember one of my first years, we went to Roscommon on a trip like this. And we basically drank since when we left to moving home. Now, in many ways, boys, it was the start of the season. Maybe there wasn't a big fight wrong with that. But just, you know, what does that tell other people about where you're at? And I think one of the things about where we were at that stage was that we were in a very fucking bad place. And as I say, boys, something had to change. And you know, again, when you talk in meetings or somebody says something in a meeting, boys, you know whether they're serious with what they're saying. You know whether you can take them seriously. And you know if they're going to follow through on it. So boys, if you sit around this weekend and you make a promise to your teammates, make sure you're able to follow that through. Or else, don't say anything.